Well, hello, my friend, and thank you for joining me as we continue our journey in discovering more and more about the Lord and His ways. So, today I want to talk to you about the Lord as our prepping prompter. Now, I know that sounds a little bit odd, so let me take you right to the scriptures over to Proverbs chapter 6, verses 6 through 8, which is a marvelous passage that gives us a picture, well, of a little ant who prepares well in advance. Go to the ant, O sluggard. Observe her ways and be wise, which, having no chief, officer, or ruler, prepares her food in the summer and gathers her provision in the harvest. You know, God not only wires little animals, little insects with that innate ability to prepare ahead, but He does that for us as well through His spiritual gifts. And over in Romans 12, the gift of administrations or leading carries that idea with it. Those who organize and mobilize the body of Christ to do the work of the ministry. And my wife has that. My sweet wife. She has that sense of looking ahead, preparing for the future. And one particular Sunday morning, she had stayed home from church because she wasn't feeling well that day, but she wanted to worship, so she stayed home for the Sunday school hour. And during that time, she heard these sirens, and I just love this about my wife. She immediately and reflexively prays for whoever those emergency vehicles are going to help. I mean, she just lifts them up to the Lord. But on this particular day, she also felt something additionally. She felt prompted to think through what would be a good little bag to create to take to a hospital waiting room for somebody who was there for a loved one who may have been rushed in by emergency vehicles and all. And so she put together a little bag with waters and granola bar and a sweater and Kleenex, things like that. Well, what she did not know was that morning, those emergency vehicles were going to our church. One of our longtime Sunday school teachers and one of my staff members actually was not feeling well just before his class, so he went out to our prayer garden to get some air, and he collapsed. And these emergency vehicles were there to assist him. And so I called my wife to let her know what was going on so she could come to be with his wife. And so she was, and they ended up going to the hospital. And my wife had that little bag with her, and they spent several hours there together. And this sweet lady was so amazed that my wife had this little bag. She said, "I can't believe you had this for us. That's amazing." And that's when my wife shared, "Well, you know, it's something the Lord prompted me to do this morning when I heard the emergency vehicles in the area." No, my friend, I believe that God prompts us all the time. It's just a matter of us tuning in. Let me just encourage you to be listening for the prepping prompts of God. He is our prepping prompter. He wants us to be prepared for things in advance. And if He does it for an ant, He'll certainly do it for you. So until next time, be listening for those prompts to prepare as you listen for those whispers of God.